All right, we'll call the meeting of the Leonia Board of Education to order. Meeting of the Leonia Board of Education was called to order on September 28th. That's the correct date, not the date I sent out incorrectly twice today, at 7:32 p.m. Adequate notice of tonight's meeting in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act was provided through the following methods: distribution of notice to the record, posting of notice at the NC Scott Elementary School, Leonia Middle School, Leonia High School, Community Bulletin Board, school district website, and our Remind network and social media. Everybody could please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's right there. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
You do it again? Okay.
You do the best minutes.
Okay, you got it. Okay. Ms. Albanese,
Present.
Ms. Choi,
Present.
Ms. De Jesus,
Present.
Ms. Melman,
Present.
Mr. Park, Ms. Raycow,
Present.
Ms. Thompson,
Present.
and Mr. Robbins.
Present.
And I believe Ms. Wild is absent, and Mr. Lee is absent, correct?
Is he not?
Or maybe he's on, I don't see him.
I don't see him. No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Oh, he is on Zoom? Oh, so let me just check. Well, there, I see him. Daniel, he's connecting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mr. Lee is present. All right, so ends your roll call.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. And we also have student representatives. Amelia Morello. Present, okay, and Eli Kinder. Okay. And also present is Dr. Bertolini, Eric Tomasevich, Business Administrator, Board Secretary, Kevin Woods is here, Tafari Anderson is here, as well as Dr. Zanthi Manos. Is that everybody? I think so.
All right, great.
We've got everyone. So now officially, so ends your roll call, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, we will start off with finally swearing in our student representatives. So let's see. I'll turn my camera this way so that way it's recorded. If you guys want to come up here.
What do you want to stand there?
I'll just stand over here and I'll turn this towards them, and that way it can record them. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, perhaps. You guys want a copy in your hand? I only printed one.
Oh, you got this? Huh?
All right.
I have more than one here.
Oh, you,
I wrote 4. Yeah, here.
oh, great.
It's like 6 font though.
Drafted it up for you guys. I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and the qualifications prescribed by Lord Paul, the office of member of the Leonia Board of Education. That I will faithfully, partially, justly perform all duties of that office. Okay. Congratulations again to both of you. And sorry that it took so long. Okay. Given that there's no members of the public present today, we can go right past public comment.
We're online.
I'm sorry?
Online or we live streaming?
We're just,
We're just streaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's- they have to send it. in.
Okay, okay.
all right, so we'll move right along to board comment. One second. Read my statement. All right, so for board comment tonight, I did have a bit of a lengthy statement I wanted to read about our current technology issues. So members of the board, I regret to inform you that although we have made significant strides in our technology infrastructure, in several areas remain pressing issues. The pandemic has forced us to plunge into the digital age. And the truth is, like many other districts, we were not ready last year. I was proud of us for admitting that and for coming together and uniting to solve the problems. And although we made significant progress, again, we must acknowledge when some things are not working. And right now, there are several things that are not working that we must address. To start, our new firewall remains on back order as a result of the international computer chip shortage. In the meantime, Cisco has provided us with a loaner, and still, however, parts of ACS, LMS, and LHS suffer from connection intermittency. CDI, the company that carried out our upgrade project, has been on site this past week to diagnose the issues, but I'm growing ever more concerned over the continuing network issues that our teachers and students are facing, and it must be resolved quickly. Until there is a strong wireless internet connection that fully covers every square inch of every school, all the buildings, until every student and teacher can access videos, download files, and log in instantaneously, we cannot declare victory. Have we made progress? I think it's undoubtedly true. We have not yet won. Aside from the connection issues, there are still several areas that continue to remain concerns. This past week, I met with Dr. Bertolini and Kevin Woods. We came to the understanding that all exposed internet wires will be tubed ASAP, and that any clocks that are not working will be removed or replaced. Unfortunately, there's the clock issue is actually might take a bit longer than it's not as simple as just putting up new clocks. We want to get Wi-Fi clocks so that way the time is never wrong again. So it might take a little while, but Kevin has detailed a plan, and I'm sure that will work. And as the board rolls out our long-range facility plan in the coming months, we will remain dedicated to our current efforts of renovating much of, if not all, the classrooms that need to be renovated in the middle school, and in doing so, upgrading the clock networks. As of today, several smart boards remain unconnected. We have paid tremendous sums of money for these great pieces of technology, and I find it troubling that it's now almost October and still there are several that are not available for our teachers and students to use. Although teachers were promised to come in over the summer, very few were ever called to do so. Recently, this board purchased a new phone system for the entire district, yet several phone extensions are either not working or incorrectly connected, which must be a top priority to fix. As a matter of security and safety, this has to be fixed. It's unacceptable that we've purchased a new phone system and several are just not currently working. This board has made a tremendous investment in installing hundreds of security cameras all across our school buildings. I would like a confirmation that all cameras are providing live feed and that they're being stored and recorded 24/7. Our technology ticket system remains a source of frustration for our administration and teachers alike. And although Dr. Bertolini has created the superintendent hotline for the staff, this is not where our superintendent should have his attention focused. Therefore, I'm calling upon our administration to improve the status quo of this system. And then there's the issue of printers. Until recently, many classrooms had classroom printers. As of now, several are not working correctly. Many schools, universities, and businesses, however, have moved to consolidating their printers. and just having regional printers. Now, and that would work by individuals just sending their documents to a printer. They go over with their ID and print it out. But we are not at that point yet. And if that is the goal of this administration, then I ask that we move quickly, because what we have now are broken printers and it's not helping anybody. So if we're going to press forward, I'm calling on our administration again to consult with our teachers and building administration to develop a clear and timely plan for our printing situation. Send the finance committee a plan, and I'm confident that this board will do the job to do what's best for the district. To all the teachers listening tonight, I'd like you to know that I've spoken recently with your union president, John Sassy. He zealously and fairly advocated on your behalf, and simply put, the issues that he raised are valid and must be addressed. The status quo is unacceptable. Members of the board, prior to this board's investment, this board, I'll rephrase, has invested more into technology than any prior board in Leon. Under the leadership of Dr. Bertolini and Tafari Anderson, we have advanced technology more in the past 10 months than in the past 10 years combined. We have done a lot, and it has been tremendous, but there's a lot of work to continue to do. Our next board meeting is October 19th. It should be this board's expectation that the issues that I presented to you today are resolved, if not before then, but by then. We need to get these things working. We can't go and claim that we're in the digital age when so much is not yet working. Thank you. Are there other board comments? Mary?
Bryce, thank you for that statement. I think that's.
Oh, just unmute. Unmute.
Oh. Okay, now good? Okay. Bryce, thank you for your comments. I think you've put together a pretty good list of what needs to be done for the teachers, for the faculty, for the admin, to make the school district run well for the students. I think you've summed it up. I don't know how, thank you. I don't know how the information is being gathered from the faculty, but is there maybe some kind of Google Doc or Google form that could be very simple for them to say, my laptop's not working or my smart board isn't corrected? That way they could have already a list of classrooms maybe to try to pinpoint each section as it goes. I don't know if that's already been done. It's just a suggestion to try to kind of like make it to consolidate, the information that still needs to be happening. My other board comment was about thanking you for the updating the policy 8820 about the Pledge of Allegiance. So when we go over that later, I think people will understand what that is. So that's it.
I think, working at a school, I do feel for the teachers, and I feel that we should do as much as we can to support them and to support the students. This is a new age of learning, and things are difficult to begin with. Teachers and students transitioning back into the building, and also administrators. So I think whatever we need to support them, we have to make sure that we give them some agency, and even in taking small steps, but they need to feel that they're being heard. And I think that acknowledgement is there. Classes are changing. Students need computer in the classes. Teachers are using Google Classroom. So if we want them to continue being innovative and teaching students differently, that they need it more than ever at this time, we have to do as much as we can to support them.
Thank you, Anna. Are there other board comments? Students, you guys are free to come as well. All right, and I just want to be very clear. This isn't a slap on the administration's job. I do want to again say that we've made tremendous strides, but there's just a lot of work that needs to continue to get done, and it needs to get done quickly. All right, seeing no more board comments, move right along. Is there a motion on our consent agenda items? Isaac, is there a second? Anna? Roll call, please.
Okay, this is on the entire consent agenda. All right, Ms. Albanese.
Sorry, need to back up a little bit.
Okay,
Are we making, we already made the motion?
Yeah, is
Sorry,
there
so I have to.
a motion to pull it?
Yeah.
Like, right?
oh, do you want to, well, okay,
Motion to pull.
which one do you want to take off?
Under policy, can we pull C5111?
I had actually already marked that one down. I forgot to mention. Thank you for that. Sorry.
Okay, so, okay, so can we get a second on that to take that off for now, table that for now? Okay, the second is Mr. Park, and let me just get an all in favor on that one, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so we're gonna move forward with the consent agenda with the omission of that one item, which is, just remind me again, that's
511.
5111, okay. All right, so, do the roll call on the consent agenda. Ms. Albanese,
Yes.
okay? Ms. Choi,
Yes.
Ms. De Jesus,
Yes.
okay? Mr. Lee,
Vic, I'm not sure if I can vote, but if I can, I vote yes.
okay, great, we got you, Mr. Lee. All right, Ms. Melman,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Raycow?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson? And Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Okay, and then the consent agenda passes.
Thank you. All right, there's no. Good, good thing. All right, superintendent.
Yep.
You want to do the microphone? Sometimes it's clear.
Let's see. The last time we spoke for a while. So just want to double check, make sure everyone can hear me. Daniel, Mr. Lee, can you hear us?
Yes,
Yes. Okay, is it clear enough or should I use the microphone?
it's clear for me.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Thanks, Dan. Just a few things before we pass it over to our presenters tonight. I want to thank our policy committee. They've done a lot of work. We had a large number of policies in this packet this month, and we're going to have another large number next month. Isaac has set a meeting date for the next policy committee meeting, so we'll have to review that, but we're catching up on policies that the state gave us over the summer. So again, to the policy committee, thank you very much. Enrollment at our schools, ACS remains steady. There's just a slight decrease from last year at ACS. Obviously, when you take the 5th grade away, there's a large decrease, but I'm talking about grades pre-K to 4. The 4th grade is our largest grade in the elementary school. It's 126 students, which is right at the max. Our 1st graders are 106, and the other ones are about 110. So there's room in ACS with the exception of the 4th grade. At the middle school, the 5th grade of 121 students joined the middle school. They've had a great start to the school year. And the enrollment now at the middle school is 636. So they're the 2nd largest school in our district. The high school has an increase of 46 students this year. We are at 863, which is a very large number. 863 plus our Evergreen students of about 16 to 18. Evergreen is a Bergen County Special Service program that's in our building. So we're about 880 students at the high school. Again, when I first got here, it was 592. So we've increased significantly. Of the 46 additional students, 60% of them are from Leonia and 40% are from Edgewater. So it's not really, it's pretty much balanced, but there's more students that joined us this year moving into town than from Edgewater. And our 9th grade class is larger than last year's 8th grade class. So even though we do lose some students to other schools, we have a very large enrollment coming and transferring into the high school as 9th graders. So our 9th grade class is larger than our graduating class last year, which just shows that we have a lot of students moving in the district. Kevin Woods will speak in a few moments about repairs in all 3 schools, especially here in the high school. We have plans for it. It's going to be a struggle to get us back to normal. We would like to have our 880 students on 2 floors, not just 1 floor at the high school. But so far, the students and the staff are cooperating. I'm sure the halls are not that empty during the breaks, but we do have an open campus, so during lunch, you go out probably. We want to congratulate our girls tennis team for winning the county championship, Group B. First time in a couple of years, we won the county tournament. Our girls tennis team has always been very, very strong, but the county tournament has always been a struggle, but we won it this year. And we beat some very powerful schools, Pascack Hills, and our bitter rivals, Dwight Englewood, over that side of town. So we're very congratulations to Coach Cullen, our other coaches, and all our student athletes. As you know, I've been sending reminders out anytime we have a COVID case, and I'll continue through the rest of the year. So instead of sending it out all at once, I'm going to send it anytime we have it. I will wait, though, until our parents are notified of the students that are involved. We're not going to send a reminder out, even though we may find out about it in the morning. We may wait till the next day or whenever the school says they've notified all the parents of that have to be quarantined. We had a very successful back to school night for the high school last Thursday. Our middle school, we run 3 consecutive Thursday nights. The teachers receive a half day the next day for the contractual time they lose at night. So the high school ran it last Thursday. Middle school will run it tomorrow, Thursday night, and then ACS is the last one coming up in 2 weeks. Kevin Woods and Tafari Anderson will speak in a few minutes. But before we go there, I just want to, again, repeat something similar to what Bryce said. The pandemic and the flood has delayed a lot of things. It's very hard to find a computer chip, a bus driver, or 5th grade furniture. And we are struggling. There are other things that are not out there. You see it in paper and the news every day. Bus drivers are a struggle. You see on the agenda tonight to try to find a trainer to join us when our trainer is not available is impossible. And we have to recruit our nurses to do that. So you'll see that, you saw that on the agenda. There's still some issues that need to be resolved. And as Bryce said, we are not happy with the current situation. Our tech team comes in every day and they are resolving individual teacher issues. However, we are at, say, 90% successful in solving our issues, but that means a teacher doesn't necessarily really care about that. To be honest, the teacher only cares about their classroom and how effective they could be in the classroom. And if they have part of the 10% that's not working as well as we want to do, that's a problem for that individual teacher and the students. Obviously, our goal is, as Bryce said, is to solve each and every issue. And we'll continue to work daily to create a learning environment that doesn't have any hurdles that disrupts the education of our students. Again, Bryce indicated correctly that we've come a long way from last September when Bryce and I sat in someone's 2nd grade classroom. Who was it? Remember what class was you were in? There?
Right.
It was your 2nd grade class. Was it Mrs. King?
No, it wasn't my
But it was a 2nd grade classroom. And we realized then that we were in a desperate need of infrastructure upgrade. Bryce promised it at all costs. Didn't realize it was going to be almost $2 million, but the board approved it. And with the help of our tech team and Mr. Anderson, we were able to do it. However, again, I want to repeat, as Bryce did say, that we are not there yet completely and we need to be there and we will get there. So I'm confident that we will. But everyone is working hard. But again, for a teacher that has some issues in the classroom during a lesson, they don't care that we're working hard. They want to get it done. That's the bottom line. And I understand that as a teacher, you don't want your lesson disrupted. We always go to plan B when we have to, but we don't want to have to go to plan B when we have a good lesson developed. I'm going to pass over to Zonti right now to just go over a few things with our iPads in the elementary school. Thank you.
Okay, so after working with the teachers at ACS, we found that originally we had moved 2nd grade to have iPads as well, but with the recent discoveries, we moved 2nd grade to now have their one-to-one Chromebooks that they had from last year, and then they will have a class set or a small group set of iPads that students can use when they're working in the classroom on different activities in their small group settings. So they will have, each 2nd grade class will have one-to-one Chromebooks and 5 additional iPads for students to use in their small group. We've also been working with the pre-K and kindergarten and 1st grade teams to make sure that they have the apps that they need on the iPads. That's why the iPads haven't been fully deployed into the classrooms yet, or haven't been fully used in the classrooms yet, because we're still working on that process. We collected a list of iPad apps that will be, and then that was today actually given to the tech department to add to the iPads for those grade levels. So each grade level created a list of apps that worked best for their kids, and using the apps that we use that we have purchased for them, and also some of the free apps that they use in their classrooms. And those will be, all the apps and all the iPads should be ready in classrooms, ready to go, and all set no later than Friday, October 8th. So that is our goal, is to get them all out by that day.
Thank you, Dante. Just to follow up what Dante said, we are pleased that technology is being used throughout our district in comparison to what we had last year. But we want to make sure that technology is used as an educational tool and not as a crutch. We don't want it to be the end all. We want it to be used in the classroom to enhance the lesson, not to be the lesson. And that's our goal. And that's why Dante is working with our teachers and talking to our teachers to make sure the apps that we need that will enhance instruction is used, and not, again, not as a crutch, but as a tool. And then finally, just want to review the COVID procedures. I think it's important to understand that we follow the CDC, NJDOH, and NJDOE recommendations. However, it's really each individual case that we have to look at and see what's the best policy for that individual case. So we look at, were the kids eating lunch inside? How close were they inside to lunch, especially in the elementary school where there is no vaccinations. In the middle school and high school, we're fortunate that about 85% of our students are vaccinated. So there could be a class that has a positive case, and because all the students are vaccinated and the teacher is vaccinated, 95% of our staff is vaccinated, we don't need to quarantine anybody but that student or that teacher. I was doing my book chat the other day with 10 students, and we got on the discussion about the vaccination, and every single one of my students that I had for the book chats last Friday, they were vaccinated. So it was outstanding that so many students have been vaccinated. And we're hoping that when the students under 12 have the opportunity to be vaccinated, we will host, either the town will host it or we'll host some of them in here. And if we can make it easier for our parents that want a vaccination for their children to get vaccinated. We feel that one of the reasons why we have such a large percent of vaccination in Leonia is that we offered many opportunities for the kids to get vaccinated and the adults to get vaccinated. So we look at the classroom style. If the classroom are pods close together and they were without masks for some reason, that's something we look at. So we can't say simply, this is our rule for every situation. We will look at it. We will talk to the nurses in the schools. We'll talk to our medical staff. We'll look at the guidelines that are followed recommended by CDC, NJDOH, and NDOE, and then we'll make a decision. But we are fortunate, like just recently, we had a situation where in the high school, we had 3 positive students. However, there was only 1 additional student that had to be quarantined because of the way they were vaccinated or the way they were sitting in class. So again, the important part is that we want to make a safe environment for our students and for our staff. And we want to, we're not going to have a clear-cut rule for each case. It's going to be an analysis of the situation when we do that. Okay, and that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Next, Eric, do you have a business minute?
I don't actually know.
That works. No worries. All right. We'll go to Park. Or do you want to go to Kevin first? Kevin, we'll go to you first. Oh, you just got on mute. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to start off. All right, I want to start off with the flood damage report from Hurricane Ida. I have a little bit of good news. I heard back from the insurance company this evening. I just notified the superintendent, also the building principals at LMS, that the insurance company approved the replacement of our cafeteria floor. Tomorrow, myself and the rest of the administration will meet with 2 vendors to firm up a plan for that floor replacement. So hopefully in the coming weeks, we can have that replaced. and continue to move forward with having lunch back in our cafeteria. For the high school, it's been a daunting process working with the asbestos companies to test our flooring for any asbestos that we have in our first floor at the high school. The tests unfortunately have been coming back with positive locations, as I reported on at last meeting. With that being said, we're coming up with a plan, pricing, different options, because we have to get these floors abated. Our biggest problem is, when do we do the abatement process? Myself and the administrative team have been talking about all different kinds of options because this will be a long process to go through. We're talking several weeks in order to have this completed. There's a lot of safety protocols that are put in place when we do abatement products like this, and that all takes time. Unfortunately, I don't have much more of a report other than we're waiting for some more testing to come back, and we're waiting for the pricing to come back from our asbestos vendors for the remediation process so that we could submit it to the insurance company. All right. As for ACS, we are, like I said in my last report, last meeting, we had 3 classrooms that are affected. We are still waiting for those testing results to come back. On average, we're seeing them take 2 to 2.5 weeks to get a test back when it goes to the lab for samples. So everything is delayed right now. It doesn't matter what it is. Even getting tests from the labs are taking weeks at a time when it would have taken 24 to 48 hours to get a lab sample back. So once we have those asbestos samples back, we'll come up with a plan with the insurance company, and then we'll get those floors replaced as well. And we'll move forward with that. The high school gym is one of the areas that we can definitely move forward with. I heard, when I spoke to the insurance company before and the adjuster, he's hoping within the coming days, he'll have approval for that so we can move forward with executing a new gym floor plan so we can get that area back up and running. Our maintenance staff has been working tirelessly to complete various work orders. I thank the teachers for their cooperation, their patience. We have done a tremendous amount of data wiring work, working with the technology department to try and get the infrastructure up and running, and we're still completing work orders day by day. We're working nights, weekends, whenever we can get into these spaces to run the additional wire that's needed. 5th grade area at the middle school. Finally, tomorrow, after waiting months and months, the remainder of the 5th grade furnishing, such as storage cabinets and the cubbies, will all be delivered and installed in each of those classrooms. It has been a long process because they can't find trucking companies to ship these products out. Much like everybody else has been saying, for every 16 loads that have to go out, there's only 1 truck to drive. So we're seeing a tremendous amount of delays in everything, unfortunately, in our department. ACS, through the Alyssa's Law grant, we completed the playground fencing project. So the whole playground area was furnished with new fencing in the areas that definitely needed it. Screens were put up, or mesh slats were put up, and we're waiting for the screens to come in. They should be in the coming weeks. The biggest problem is delays on all that stuff as well. So we got part of the fencing projects completed with all new fencing, and then we're just waiting for the screens to come in as well. We completed the bollards with the exception of some of the landscaping that needs to be finalized, but unfortunately due to Hurricane Ida, when we were supposed to do it, we've been taken off of that to do various other things throughout the district that are more pressing. So we'll get to that in the coming days, coming weeks. The turf field that was damaged by Hurricane Ida was a 1-day repair. So last Monday, September 20th, the company came out, finalized the repair on the fields. They disinfected the fields, and by that evening on September 20th, it was turned over to the school and also to the municipality to play on. So I'm happy to report that we're back on our turf field since September 20th. We've had some issues with middle school traffic on Christie Heights Street. Myself, the principals, and the Leonia Police Department have been working together to come up with a plan on how to clean up this traffic issue. So we have a temporary solution in place now, and then we have to meet as an administration again to decide what we're going to do on a more permanent basis that will require municipal approval for a long-term correction of this issue. Clocks district-wide. So this was an issue that came up amongst the teachers and the union, and I couldn't agree more. As I did say to President Robbins and also to Dr. Bernalini, for a couple of years now, my budget presentation has included clocks and replacement clocks, but unfortunately, at the time, the administration, especially the financial aspect, it was trumped for a lot of other things. With that being said, yes, we have significant clock issues. There's no question about that. That's why it was presented as such. As for the high school, we're making strides to move the clocks from the damaged IDA affected areas upstairs so that we can have that issue resolved. The middle school, we're putting in some more temporary clocks. When I first started here, I did add some temporary clocks in classrooms. They're just cheap battery operated clocks, and we'll have to replace that with a more permanent solution. ACS needs a permanent solution as well, and we're going to have to budget for that. As for the phone wiring district-wide, yes, there's no question about it. The phones that are installed inside the classrooms have blue data wires that come from the ceiling down to the phone. Unfortunately, though, there has been more pressing issues to get to than encapsulating those wires. It's not a danger, but we also have to finish that project as well, which is why we haven't gotten to that yet. However, on Saturday, in amongst sports trips and what have you, we got 15 classrooms done at the middle school. And so we're making progress, we're making headway. It's just we need a little bit more time to complete that with everything else that's going on. Update on transportation. As Dr. Berlini alluded to before, is we're having a lot of driver issues. We do have a new bus aide and a new bus driver that will be approved in tonight's meeting, but that is only the tip of the iceberg. We have some children with special needs that are having a tremendous amount of issues receiving bus service this year. We put routes out 5, 6, 7 times out to bid, to public bid. And in years past, we've never had a problem. A company would pick it up. 7 rounds of bidding so far, we've had no bus companies even bid on routes. So this is a nationwide problem. This is not a Leonia issue. It's nationwide. And yes, it is affecting us. It's affecting our sports teams with the amount of drivers that we have to put on the road for just regular trips and also for special needs routes during the school day. It's affecting our sports programs as well for leaving on their normal times. We're trying our best to get through this, but unfortunately, there's just nobody applying for these jobs. Traffic also does not help. Trying to double up, triple up routes, and then you try and get back into Leonia during rush hour, and it's you wait into 20 minutes of traffic just to get back into Leonia. So we appreciate all the parents that are affected by this, the sports teams are affected by this. However, we're doing everything we possibly can to try and remediate the situation with what we have. That is my report. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, next we'll go to Tvar.
Would like to say thanks to the board for having me. As far as the information that was just delivered, I would probably just start off by saying that I apologize for all the issues that were reported, and that my team and I have been working very hard, nights and weekends, to address these issues in collaboration with our vendors. But I will tell my team this in person. I told them this virtually, and I'll say it again. Thank you for all your hard work that you have done and the extra mile that you go or have gone. It's never the 99 things that you nail down 100%. It's the one thing that you come up short on. So that one thing, as Dr. Burley mentioned, that we're 90% there. The 10% is the other side of the bell curve, and we're going to be working diligently to get those issues addressed. When I first started in this district, we had a handful of phones only in the offices. There were no phones Okay, I'll say that again. So with the issue with the phones that was mentioned before, when I first started in this district, what we were paying for phones, we've been able to collaborate, Kevin and myself, with our team to provide classroom phones in every classroom. We've worked diligently nights and weekends to bring those technology capabilities to the classroom. As you've noticed, I just had some technical issues with my laptop. I actually am one of the owners of one of the older laptops that a lot of teachers in some cases gave us a difficult time turning in. This is the reason why we get rid of them and replace them, because they don't work that well with the newer technology. We understand the work that's ahead of us that we need to address. But when there are systematic approach to contribute to our failure, it makes it much, much more difficult for us to be successful. The fingers can be pointed many ways in many directions, and there's been many discoveries, but I will own the issues that we're experiencing, and we will continue to work diligently to get those issues resolved. And again, I personally apologize for the classrooms that are experiencing an issue, but we will work to get those issues resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Tafari. And just to reiterate, these statements that bring up these issues are not to cast blame or point fingers at anybody, just to acknowledge that issues exist and that we just want to get them solved. And I'm confident in you and your team and Dr. Bertolini and the administration that will get that exact thing will get done. All right, next we'll move on to committee reports. Noreen's not here, so we'll skip education. For finance and planning, quick update, and we just approved it. Our architect and engineers of record, our new architects and new engineers of record. So our architect of record will be Environetic Group, and our engineer will be EI Associates. And our finance committee met several times, discussed several groups, received proposals from various groups, and these were the best. Yes, we interviewed them, and these were the best ones. So I'm confident that we're going to go back to them and start the development of a long-range facility plan that's very comprehensive, goes out. We're really statutorily only allowed to go up 5 years, but of course, school districts will have visions for the future because that's what you need to do. And we're going to start a comprehensive planning of our district. So that way, in the future, there's no mysteries about when a boiler is going to go or when a roof is going to go. It'll be in our document, and boards of the future will just look at that document and say, oh, it's 2026. The roof is probably going to need to be repaired. So we're also going to engage in a capacity study to understand exactly how many people or students can fit into our buildings before we need to expand, right? We need to know that magic number. If the number is 900, if the number is 1,000, we need to know that number. So that way, if we go to the taxpayer one day and say something needs to get built, we can say, look, we literally have no more room. There's no guesswork that'll go into it. So this is exciting, and I think it'll do a lot of good for future boards to come. That's all for me. Community relations, Mary.
Okay, our next meeting is on October. Thank you. Our next meeting is on October 18th, but I do want to thank the Rotary Club and DECA, I believe, who helped at the Oktoberfest on Sunday. So if you were there, you know that it was a pretty fun event. They did try to space people out, but I think with the amount of vaccinations that are in our community, I think we were pretty good. It was a beautiful evening, a beautiful day. I saw lots of people there and lots of kids there having a good time. So just want to thank them for doing that.
Okay, we met about a week ago, last Thursday, and I really appreciate the members of the committee, Ms. Choi, Ms. Albanese, and Mr. Robinson, and attending there. We reviewed about the little bit more 100 pages of these policies. And this was part of the annual like review of our policies. And so that like most of the stuff is just mandating the all the state regulation updates and any regulation update. This is what we have to review that. We found there's a couple of issues, and we asked for the like administration. We got the right answers. And since it is like the total policies about like the little bit more than 300 pages, we have another meeting the week from the next Wednesday. So we're gonna meet again at that time, and we have, well, since we passed today about 100 pages, so next meeting we need to review about 200 pages again, and we'll see we can make it, or we might have to look at one other meeting for that can pass all this, review all these policies, and the meanwhile, in public, if you have any questions or any doubt about our policies. If you just they ask us, and then we will feel free to we will just review a little bit more details in those policies again. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. And you're not exaggerating about the hundreds of pages. There's
It's
hundreds of
literally, literally, yes.
Yeah. All right. Next, we'll go to safety and security. Kim.
Hi, we met on Wednesday. We had a very productive meeting. Kevin went over a lot of the updates and improvements at ACS. What we're working on next is possibly a resolution for more safety measures along Broad Avenue in front of ACS. So we'll talk more about that at our next meeting.
Great. Student representatives. Kim, if you could pass them the mic. Thank you.
I know last. This button. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know last year, Chris and I worked with, I think, the Community Relations Committee on the hashtag contest, but it wasn't able to really start off just because it was the end of the year and most students were in person. But Amy and I were discussing it. We're going to try to get it back up for this year and do some more research into it before bringing it back up again and trying to do it again. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Nope. Next is I did not put it on the consent agenda under policy 8820, opening exercises and ceremonies. I put this in here. It's under discussion if anyone would like to discuss it. But basically, I just changed a little wording. I added a little amendment. I think it's very important that in all of our schools, the Pledge of Allegiance is done every day over the loudspeaker, all together as one school. Shows unity amongst the school. And of course, as written in the policy, if you're a conscientious objector, or if you're from a different country and you're not an American, you're just here as a what's the wording exactly? It's you're from a foreign government to whom the United States extends diplomatic immunity. You won't be required to stand for the pledge, but that you respect the flag when people do it. So yeah, that is just the amendment. That it'll be done every day over the loudspeaker, uniformly, right before the first period starts. And it's done like that in most schools, but I thought it would be best if the board amended our policy to make it uniform across all schools. So that way, when students transfer schools, it's the same exact routine. Do the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. Is there a motion on policy? Mary, is there a second? Second, Maria. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All right. Roll call, please.
Okay, it's like- Who was the, I'm sorry.
There's Mary and Maria.
Okay, roll call. Ms. Albanese,
Yes.
Ms. Choi,
Yes.
Ms. De Jesus,
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Melman,
Yes.
Mr. Park, Ms. Raycow, and Mr. Robbins.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Hey, hey, and Maria.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Apologies. Motion still carries.
So question,
Yes,
this is a policy. Does it need a second reading or is it not?
needs a second.
It needs a second reading. Okay. Can't go into second until second reading or officially?
Yeah. that's
Okay.
right.
All right. Well,
Officially,
send the word that it's approved once and
it's coming.
let's get it started. And then we'll approve it the second time at our next meeting and that'll be amended. Thank you very much, board. All right, next we'll move to new business. There's a few new business items. Dr. Bertolini, do you want to talk about?
Yes, again, I apologize for the large number, but we're, again, beginning of the school year, so a lot of things are happening quickly. A through H, we have 2 maternity leaves that we finalized. We're working, I've worked with the union president, John Sassy, and each individual teacher to make sure that the maternity leave is acceptable to the person and to the district. It's supposed to be a discussion between both of us, along with John, and both staff members here. We've agreed to the length and the time period they return to maternity leave. Letter D is a program that Anthony Service put in a few years ago. Even though we're paying the parent, instead of providing after-school, I guess, training for the student every day for the rest of the year, what we do is we train the parent. So the parent takes over for the teacher. So it's financially good. It's also good for the parent to learn skills on helping their child who is special needs. Our new world language supervisor has not been trained in Danielson. It's a requirement because we use Danielson evaluations for our teachers. So that's the reason why that's there. We want to get her starting on the evaluations as soon as possible. And that's why it's part of new business. And then there's a couple of financial ones that have been on there normally each year, but it was each month. And Eric got it on at this point for B and C. And then finally, letter A, that's the agreement we have with Evergreen, Bergen County Special Services. They rent our building, part of our building, 2 classrooms and 2 offices to provide programs for fragile students throughout the Bergen County, actually throughout many counties. And they come here and we receive money, financial compensation for it. And it's a great program that the county runs for students that are fragile. I think that's everything. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Did you say we pay the parents, not the trainer?
We train the parent.
We train them, but the money.
We pay, that's right, that's correct. We're paying the trainer. That's right. It's a staff member.
Yeah.
But instead of having the teacher go there 2 or 3 times
Yeah,
a
I
week,
think it's great.
yeah, and it gives the parents some confidence to train their student, their child. Any other questions on the new business?
Is there a motion on new business?
I have a question
Oh.
about the letter B.
Let's just get the motions first and then,
Yeah, sure.
so Maria, is there a second? Anna? All right, discussion. Done. Discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Just make sure to unmute.
I don't know. Is it on? Is it working? It's really quick one. Are those dates correct?
Letter B?
Yeah, August 15th to 2021 totaling 310,226 and August 30th, 2021. I'm not sure if I'm following this. There's only 15 days apart.
Correct. It's 2.
Two payrolls. Those
It's
are
2 payrolls.
two
Yeah.
separate- Wow, it's a big amount. I'm just catching up here. Okay, all right. Just wanted to check that. Thanks.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the new business items? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Okay, Ms. Albanese,
Yes.
Ms. Choi,
Yes.
Ms. De Jesus,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Repeat that again?
Yes.
okay, Ms. Melman, Ms. Melman,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Park,
Yes.
Ms. Raycow,
Yes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
and Mr. Robbins.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move to the second public comment portion of the meeting. Is there a motion to take us into public comment? Tim, is there a second? Isaac, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, great. Leonia Board of Education will enter into public comment at 8:29. If there's a member of the public that wishes to speak, please just rise to the lectern, state your name, your address. And yeah. Welcome.
My son started this year as a freshman. I'm not so much here for him. I can't seem to get a clear answer. At times I'm very uncertain. At times, we have to come together as a community to try to understand issues. I've never been a teacher, but I think anyone who's had their own school in the last year, they never had this type of educators. These 9 years, I know that when I went to school here, scholarship. I'm a society. I care about this like that. Now, I have to. I understand the war that they're telling us. So my problem is every single student the same. For example, they're asking us how you answer this. It's whether I would need one of this community or not. It's mainly whether I stay in my home town. It's someone that has asthma. The same way as someone that doesn't. It's someone that has Down syndrome. In this school district, treat the same with their needs. Because we spoke about special needs. As someone that does not have Down syndrome. I would like to answer from the board on that. Question. The reason I'm asking that is, there are people out there, I know it's hard to believe in this new world that we live in. That there's no one out there that has asthma or COPD or lung issues or emphysema or whatever the case may be. These are things that pre-existed long before COVID. So I need a clear answer from the board. Are there special cases? I know that there was, when I was growing up, certain classes for certain children. So obviously there was some special treatment. Is that still the case or not the case? My first question. My second question is, what if a child does have severe asthma? Is he not entitled to the same education as the children that do not have asthma? The answer to that is a very fair question. Sent out these reminders, which I can't really respond to, so I can't. Sad. Three students got infected, moved quickly. We posted the numbers of 95% of who were vaccinated, 85% of the student body was. Yet, we're still having outbreaks, we're still wearing masks. So is that solving things? You will. So these are my three questions. What would we goes back to remote. They're 95% vaccinated.
We'll answer all questions during board comment. No, perfect. It's just, this is public comment, and then we'll go into board comment. We'll answer all those questions. Thank you very much. Are there other members of the public that wish to speak? Okay. All right, seeing none, is there a motion to take us back into the regular portion of the meeting? Mary, is there a second? Anna, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, great. Back into the public portion of the meeting. Dr. Bertolini, do you want to address some of the questions?
Is it November 30th? November 30th? October 30th?
Might want to, use the mic.
Use the mic? Okay.
Just want to make sure everyone can.
Testing. To answer Rebecca, welcome back. I know Rebecca, clearly my first year. Tall senior at that point, and he's still a. Say that again? I didn't want to say that. But I would agree with that. Yes, for sure. But we were all skinny back then. Three answers. The first one, we certainly do not treat each student individually the same. We meet the needs of the students. So if there's special needs or advanced students or certain students that are interested in culinary and the sciences, we meet their needs by having different programs for them. So I think we can say pretty clearly that our district in particular takes the needs of each individual student to provide them the best possible education. I'm very confident about that, and I think the board would agree with that. Second of all, a student with asthma or a student with some kind of pulmonary situation, we have not had a parent send us anything this year yet for that situation. However, we go to our medical professionals at that point. Dr. Yankis is our school doctor. He would have a conversation with the student's doctor, and they would make a decision on whether or not the student had to wear a mask. At this point, there is no student that has requested or Dr. Yankis has approved not wearing a mask in school at this point. But if there was a situation where the student was severely asthmatic, certainly Dr. Yankis would have a conversation with the family doctor of that student. Secondly, we have insisted on making sure all phys ed classes inside are masked unless there is extensive exercise, but we make sure that the lesson plans for our teachers does not include extensive exercise. So while our phys ed classes K through 12, all our students will be masked inside. However, again, if there's a situation, our school doctor will be talking to the doctor of that family. And then finally, on October 30th, just asking Dante the exact date, we have to supply the state with a plan if we had to go fully virtual. Right now, we're not allowed to go fully virtual. As I said earlier, I think you were here when I gave my report earlier tonight. We look at each individual situation and we decide what the best thing is for the safety of our students and for our faculty. So in a case where we have to quarantine the entire class because of something the class did that day, we would. In other cases, as you mentioned, maybe you did hear what I said, because there were 3 kids that were quarantined because they're positive, and just one other student had to be quarantined, again, because of the way we set up our school day. I think that answers the 3 questions. Does anyone want to add anything? Board members?
Maria.
Hi. First, I want to thank you for actually coming out and presenting, your perspective and sharing your experience. And I really wish we had more parents and more engagement from the community, because I think we could always use more viewpoints and more of a balanced perspective. We don't get that enough. I was on the re-entry committee and participated as much as possible. And I think we did plan for potential medical exemptions, right? I think that's pretty common. So if there's something in particular or someone in particular that needs that, I highly encourage them through their parents or themselves to reach out to Dr. Bertolini, and I'm sure he'll follow through on the process he just elaborated I would also say that I'm someone who's been advocating for more in-person school and more in-person opportunities for our kids this entire time. Dr. I've been a pain and in doing so. But one thing that I would just encourage you to consider is, I don't think we ever have a roadmap for this pandemic. It's an unprecedented time. No one quite knows which way is up sometimes, or what the exact best thing to do is. But I would really hope that you and everybody listening would give the administration, the benefit of the doubt that we're really trying to do, and the board as well, really trying to do what we think is the best thing to keep the kids safe and to keep the kids educated. And nobody's out to keep anybody out and keep anybody from learning. I certainly hope nobody's out to send more kids home rather than fewer kids. Dr. Bertolini knows I definitely want to keep the kids in school, so that parents can work and kids can get what they need to get their social and emotional needs met, their academic. So again, I really appreciate you bringing this to the committee. Hopefully anybody listening, or to the board, hopefully anybody listening, if they're, if you need a special accommodation for, in particular, a medical reason, feel free to reach out
Thank
to
you,
Dr.
Maria.
Bertolini.
Is there anybody else? Tom.
Definitely communicate your needs to us, and we'll make sure you're heard. Thank you.
Talk louder. Okay, I'll try that. I'm pretty much like gonna echo Maria on this. I am really happy you chose to come here. I think you mentioned that this is your last attempt, but please don't think that way. I think this is the right place that you should have been. Probably, like, I didn't know. I'm just gonna be honest here. I didn't know there was a protocol that Dr. Bertolini just explained now, associated with the severe medical issues. I'm not going to pretend that I know every, corners and aspects of COVID policy we have. I think this is important that if there's unique needs or cases, bring it up to our attention and, make sure you're heard. And I am very confident to say that Dr. Bertolini and our administration and even entire board, we're more than willing to find a way that, that meets your child's needs and family's unique situation. So I also want to say that I also felt your frustration. I'm sorry, like it's been very frustrating year and a half or so. So please don't feel that you are alone in this. And I am, again, very thankful that we are here together. That's all.
I'll certainly just chime in as well. Definitely not alone. It's incredibly stressful times and incredibly frustrating times. I mean, just watching whoever's face might be on the news, 1 month they're saying one thing, and the next month they say another thing. And local officials are oftentimes binded by what so-and-so in Trenton or so-and-so in Washington says. And it makes it certainly difficult. And oftentimes we see that data is not necessarily being followed, but just what the loudest voices in the room are saying. Certainly, I like to think that on this Board of Education and on our reentry committee, we did our due diligence. We worked with professionals that I think were fair, and we adapted our plans as the conditions of the pandemic and the conditions in Trenton changed. But I think we're doing a very good job. And certainly, if there are instances where students need medical exemptions to participate in in-person school, that needs to be the goal, in-person school, then that has to get done. So yeah, that's really all I have to say on that. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for bringing that up.
I stayed there, so.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, we are now at the, unless there's any more board comments on anything. Oh, yes, Kim. Sure. I'm sorry. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Board comment in general is always can be on whatever you want.
Is that working? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to kind of praise the staff at ACS and specifically the lunch aides. They have been going above and beyond. I've heard from teachers and parents and all the students that lunch is going very smoothly. It's different this year. I think all the classes are eating in their classroom or outside. And I wanted to thank Eric. I know you're new, but whatever you did to kind of expedite students receiving the school lunch, that is so helpful and so beneficial to working families that they can receive school lunch this year during a pandemic. And yeah, it hasn't been easy, but lunch has been going very smoothly. So just thank you to everyone who's making that happen.
Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. And agreed. Are there any other board comments? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Mary? Going once. Oh. No, they wanted to discuss, you want to discuss that in committee, right?
Yeah.
No, thank you for bringing it up. All right. Seeing no other board comments, is there a motion to take us to closed session? Maria, is there a second? Christina, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? All right. Congratulations on your swearing in. And to all members of the audience,
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks.
take
Bob.
care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Troy. Christina was the second.
Oh,
right?
okay.
You second?
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing sometimes when you're trying to type at the same time. you just
In
miss
accordance
things.
with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Leonia Board of Education, thank you, Troy, will be going into closed executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 for the purposes of discussing personnel, contract negotiations, or matters of attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the